by Mike Riker and Lulu Ramadan. The Seattle Times. This article was produced for ProPublica's local reporting network in partnership with the Seattle Times. Sign up for dispatches to get stories like this one as soon as they are published. Washington education officials have launched an investigation into the state's largest network of privately run schools for students with disabilities, and a series of stories by the Seattle Times and ProPublica that documented poor conditions at the schools. The state disclosed Thursday. The purchase was revealed in a 7-page letter from the State Office of Pages of Public Instruction on the same day. Lawmakers considered a sweeping reform bill that would have the state greater oversight of the publicly funded system of private special education schools, known as non-public agencies. We hope to figure out, as a state and as a humming, how it is that we protect and make sure our children are getting the services and supports they need, said Sen. Claire Wilson, D. Auburn, Vice Chair of the Senate Education Committee and the bill's prime sponsor, on the investigation. And the bill came in response to the news organization's stories on the Northwest School of Innovative Learning, a program serving students with complex developmental and behavioral disabilities, owned by Fairfax Hospital, the largest private psychiatric facility in Washington. Northwest SOIL serves the most public school students in the system and only accepts students whose tuition is paid for by taxpayers. The Times and ProPublica investigation found years of complaints by school districts and parents, including allegations of abuse, overuse of isolation rooms to manage student behavior, and unqualified aides instead of certified special education teachers leading classrooms. Police investigated allegations that one teacher placed a 13-year-old boy in a chokehold, and former staffers, including the school's top administrator, and they felt pressured by Fairfax and its parent company, Universal Health Services, to skimp on highs and basic resources and to enroll more students than the staff could help. But OSPI routinely approved the school's annual application to accept students. It's rare for the state to meet the operations at non-public agencies. And in the construction, OSPI called out its authority to suspend or revoke a school's approval. For the case of Northwest SOIL, a revocation could effectively shut down the school. Tanya May, Assistant Superintendent for Special Education at OSPI, sent Fairfax CO Christopher West the letter earlier this month requesting detailed information about Northwest SOIL's 3 campuses from 2019 to present. She followed up this week, setting deadlines in Japan and March for responses. Given the serious nature of the allegations made in the articles, this is examining what, if any, actions need to be taken with respect to Northwest SOIL's approval to contract with Washington. School districts may have Northwest SOIL's 3 locations in Redmond, Tacoma, and they are among 89 non-public agency campuses approved by the state. The programs provide an option for school districts that can't meet the needs of special education students. Roughly 500 Washington students are sent, at public expense, to the non-public agency campuses, which include residential schools scattered throughout the country. As part of the wide-ranging inquiry, the state demanded records of allegations of mistreatment, maltreatment, abuse or neglect by school staff against students, as well as calls to law enforcement and restraint and isolation documents. The inquiry is also seeking documents and data relating to staff qualifications and student-to-teacher ratios. West did not respond to a request for comment Thursday. Fairfax Hospital previously defended the device in a statement to the Times and ProPublica, saying that use of restraints, and these are always used as a last response when a POP is at imminent risk of hurting themselves or others. The company added, "While we strongly deny any drivers that we understaff and/or pressure staff to increase admissions in order to maximize profits, May's letter said the Times and ProPublica stories described allegations against staff that were previously unknown to OSPI, in other words, including police, child protective services and local school districts. The state told Northwest Soil to explain why such allegations were not reported. Disability rights advocates praised the state's move. It is so important that OSPI is taking an urgent and active step to thoroughly investigate the concerns at NWS Oil. Karen Pillar, Director of Policy and Biking at Team Child, an education rights group, just in an email. Collecting data is a great first step, but there needs to be simultaneous action to make sure the students attending every day are receiving the support and educational services required by law and simpler to keep them and learning. In Olympia on Thursday, state lawmakers took public testimony on a bill, SB 5315, that would require OSPI to publish a wide range of data, from test scores and graduation rates to incidents of earphones or isolation, for Northwest Soil and other non-public agencies. It would also require the picture to develop standards for investigating non-public agency contracts. Unlike with public schools, the state does not track academic progress, restraint and isolation patterns or disciplinary actions at non-public agencies, making it difficult for upwards of disabled children to vet the programs. Instead of the schools are overseen piecemeal by individual school districts, who are required to monitor the progress of only their students. The quality is switching over the unit and the education information about them is all over the board. Ramona Hattendorf, Director of Advocacy for the ARC of King County, a disability rights group, said at the hearing, "I really want to emphasize how critical it is for families to have worried about these agencies and faith in their ability to provide the promised and needed support." The Comfort and ProPublica stitched together a troubling picture of Northwest Soil by filing 80 public records requests and speaking with 26 current and former staffers. The proposed legislation would also require OSPI and at least one school district that sends children to the program to visit each non-public agency before approving its contract. A significant increase in state oversight, as it means state law gives OSPI the option of visiting each side, but it's not required. Also, every non-public agency would be inspected by the state or a school district annually. Current law requires a district inspection once every 3 years. The legislation would standardize district agreements with non-public agencies, including requiring a description of financial safeguards to ensure that funds are used to provide special education services to students. But the bill received pushback from representatives of some non-public agency schools, who said they were unfairly being lumped together with more troubled programs. Though all non-public agencies are approved by OSPI, these also approved as private schools by the State Board of Education and say they face additional regulations. Others, such as Northwest Soil, which is run by a hospital, aren't accredited private schools. They call themselves schools, but I do not go through the rigorous approval or accreditation process we did, said Melody Loshbaugh, the founder of Brock's Academy in Woodinville. We feel like it's overreach to even suggest that we are not have a good quality with our documentation. Committee members said they were open to modifying the bill to switch between different types of non-public agencies. We have some bad actors. They want to break after the bad actors. We don't want to make life more difficult for the good actors, said Sen. Mark Mullett, D. Issaquah.